Elon Musk, man, what we want to do is be the Christian Elon Musk. What does that mean? We're breaking old paradigms, we're breaking old man-made traditions, and we're being innovative. In other words, we're tapping into the... Because masculinity is not toxic. You're either an a-hole or you're not.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It's not just like being the strength, like living in the strength that God gave you, the mindset that God gave a man, the warrior spirit,
machismo type deal, I'm a man,
Yeah, but instead of that versus like, nah, dude, I'm just living the way God made me as a freaking warrior. Right. I got many sides to me. I'm loving, I'm caring, but I destroy and I also conquer and I win victory for the right, for justice. Like all of that, dude, that's good. What you do with that is toxic, and that makes you not toxic masculinity. You're just a butthole, bro.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then you're not,
Well, the thing is, they take a small sect of people that are doing something absolutely ridiculous, and they use it to represent an entire sect of people. And toxic masculinity, I agree. I hate toxic masculinity.
Absolutely.
What you're labeling is not toxic masculinity. In fact, I would even argue that the behaviors that people are putting off forward, like if they're beating women, if they're losing their temper, they're doing all these issues, that's not masculine, dude.
No, it's not masculine.
It's not. To me, like, growing up in a home where like I had both my parents, and my dad is very masculine, very incredible parents. I can honestly say, like, my definition of masculinity is having emotions, but being in control of your emotions.
Dude, that's good.
That is a large part of masculinity. And the things that people say are toxic masculinity, I think are misinterpretations of the word masculinity itself.
Yeah, true.
And they want to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Unless it's an agenda. Unless it's some sort of agenda that we don't know about. But, like, I would see, like, strategically, like, we're going to make this just to... make men be more wusses, and maybe that's part of the...
Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing, because you know what masculinity is? There is a violent side to masculinity, because we're protectors. That's who God made us.
Yeah, there's a violent side.
And the violent isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yes.
Right, what did that one famous motivational speaker... is it Peter something?
Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson. Oh, yeah. He said some of the most dangerous people that I've encountered, were very, very nice.
How do you say it about the sword and the sheath?
He said that they know how to sheath their sword, but they know how to be violent at the same time, in the sense of protecting, like you were talking about. They're protectors. And so I think that's a really great definition. An individual that knows how to be violent, but at the same time, they're able to sheath their sword when they need to sheath their sword. Yeah, that's the true definition of just...
That's masculinity. That's masculinity right there.
Toxic is taking the sword out in every situation and cutting everybody else. That becomes toxic.
Yeah, and that's not all of mankind. That's this one guy who's acting like a butthole. That's it, right? And so I guess the biggest problem that I would have if they're trying to do this is like blanketing every male as you being a man is toxic. No, that's bullcrap. You know what I mean? Being a man is a blessing to this earth.
I think everything has potential to be toxic. Yeah. If we let it go, it's like too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. Yeah. Except if it's Christ. But believing in your hype as a man can eventually develop a toxic trait on the inside of you.
Yeah, pride.
Exactly. Pride, yeah.
Yeah. And David is masculinity, because that's what I'm talking about. Like the many facets, like David, gentle, humble, loyal.
A man after God's own heart.
A man after God's own heart, making songs about God, worshiping. Like that's the softer side, right? But he's also... He cut 200 Philistines' foreskins off. He killed Goliath. Boom, boom, boom. Like, so that, that's the blend, the perfect blend.
And at the end, he made a horrible mistake.
Sure, he did,
with Bathsheba and killing her husband and all that stuff. And then
that was toxic.
That was toxic. And then came around and had the balls to repent for it.
Yeah. He was man enough.
He was wrong.
He was man enough.
Nathan came in and said, "Hey, look, like you're doing." He told him the whole story. The man comes in, he takes his sheep, blah blah blah. He could have looked at him as the king and said, "You know what? You're done. Your head's cut off. You're calling me out on something. You're done." But he took the time to say, "God, you know what? I'm convicted on this, and I'm wrong." 100%.
Right.
And that's something I think that a lot of people lose.
Right.
They don't have that. That's masculine.
That's masculine. Yeah,
That's what
dude.
masculinity
That's being
is.
a man. Yeah.
I think another viewpoint or perspective when it comes to toxic masculinity is a man that is intimidated by their spouse to be successful. That's toxic masculinity. Your job is to be the man, the provider, the protector, the shepherd of a home, but and that's masculinity.
Yeah.
But when you start to rob your partner, your spouse, of the liberties that God has entitled them to have,
right.
A purpose of what God has for their life,
Yeah.
That becomes toxic on your part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's a coward. That sounds like a coward.
Yeah. Because you're intimidated.
Yeah, and do instead of like, okay, like if I feel like I have to be the provider, then why don't I just make more money, right? Why don't I grow myself and go higher instead of trying to pull her down and bring you down to my base level? Like you're never growing. Like to me, that's a coward.
So
that's
true
weak.
masculinity embraces every bit of what God has called them to be.
Right, yeah.
And gives them the freedom to be that.
Yeah, and it all boils back down to what is the root of intimidation is fear.
Right.
What is fear? Is
Fear.
emotion, and it's rooted in not having control of that emotion.